Chapter 1. Jennifer watched Grandma ladle hot cucumber pickles into a row of scalded glass jars. The recipe had been handed down in the family, Grandma had said. Jennifer wondered if her great-great-great-grandmother, Frances Mary Kelly, had made pickles like these. She thought of the 6 Kelly children, Frances and her brothers and sisters, who had been sent west in 1860 to St. Joseph, Missouri, on a train with 22 orphans from New York City to find new families to care for them when their own mothers couldn't. How frightening it must have been to be placed with strangers, wondering when you'd see your brothers or sisters again. Sister Jennifer shivered at the thought. Frances had been able to keep little Petey with her, and Peg and Danny had remained together. Mike had been arrested for being a pickpocket and had been allowed to go west for a second chance instead of being sent to Tombs Prison. Seemed to have had the spirit and gumption to take care of any situation. But what about Megan, the shy 12-year-old sister who'd been taken far from the others to live on the Kansas prairie? Jennifer's younger brother, Jeff, elbowed his way between Jennifer and Grandma, interrupting her thoughts. "Remember, Grandma," he said today, "you promised to tell us Megan's story today." With a quick twist of the wrist, Grandma fastened the last jar to the top tightly. "I was just thinking of that," she said. "This is the very recipe Frances came to Frances Mary from Megan." Jennifer smiled at that as Grandma went on. "Let's leave the dishes until lunchtime and go out to the screened porch. No better time to tell you Megan's story than right now." Jeff arrived at the porch first and sprawled on one of the big chairs, the breeze from the large floor fan ruffling the hair on the top of his head. Jennifer immediately dropped to the nearest chair, eager for Grandma to begin. Jeff arrived at the porch first and sprawled in one of the big chairs, the breeze from the large floor fan ruffling the hair on the top of his head. Jennifer immediately dropped to the nearest chair, eager for Grandma to begin. Grandma sat in the rocker and opened the journal in which Frances Mary had written about her brothers and sisters. "I'll read a little of what Frances wrote about Megan before I tell you the rest of her story," Grandma said. She cleared her throat and began. "Maybe I worried more about Megan than any of the rest. I watched her chin tremble before she walked away, back straight and proud, hand in hand with Ben and Emma Browder, ready to face her new life without complaint. I was heartbroken not only because I was leaving this sister I loved so much, but because I knew Megan unfairly blamed herself for what happened to our family. For as long as I live, I will never forget that day in New York City, more than 2 years before, when a horrible old woman made Megan think of herself as a bad luck penny. There had been a loud, insistent knocking at our door, and Megan ran to answer it. Ma and I were right behind her as she opened the door to a woman who was as dark and wrinkled as a walnut shell. Greasy strands of hair hung over her eyes. "A gypsy," I heard Ma mutter under her breath. From under her shawl, the woman stretched out a claw-like hand palm up. "Some coins for a poor old lady," she whined. Ma said firmly, "I'm sorry, we have nothing for you." She started to close the door, but the woman snatched at Megan's wrist. She poked a long, dirty finger in Megan's palm. "Oh," she sighed. "What have we here? Could it be that this child is a bad luck penny?" "None of that now," Ma snapped. "Be on your way with this foolishness." Megan, whimpering with fear, tried to pull her hand away, but the gypsy's fingers dug into her wrist. The old woman thrust her face close to Megan's and muttered, "Bad luck will be with you and yours all the days of your life." Megan screamed and I let out a yell and tried to pull her away from the gypsy. Ma picked up the broom and brandished it at the woman. "I said begone with you," Ma shouted. As she firmly shut the door, Ma gave Megan a hug and said, "Don't mind what that evil woman told you, love. It's all foolishness. She was just trying to get back at me because I wouldn't give her any money." Ma went back to her sewing, but the fear remained in Megan's eyes. Later, I found Megan talking to old Lorenzo with the twisted legs who sat on the street corners to beg. I knew she'd been asking about Gypsy because he whispered, "Of course gypsies can see other things others can't see. Gypsies have a special gift." And everyone in the Russian family down the hall became upset when Megan told them about the gypsy's visit. The grandmother crossed herself and babbled something in Russia, and Marfa, who was close to Megan's age, quickly murmured, "Grandma says be very careful. Who can tell the effect of a gypsy's curse?" I pulled Megan into the hallway, urging, "Don't listen to the others. Listen to Ma and to me. What the gypsy told you doesn't mean a thing. It's all just superstition." But Megan held out her palm as though trying to peer into it and shuddered. "All the days of my life," she whispered. When Da died, Megan blamed the gypsy's curse for bringing bad luck on the family. She blamed it for Mike's arrest, and now she blamed it for Ma sending us all to new homes in the West. As we were tearfully saying goodbye to one another in St. Joseph, Megan clung to my arm. "Oh, Frances, don't you see?" she said. "All the terrible things that happened to our family are my fault, since the gypsy made me a bad luck penny." She hugged me tightly. "Maybe you'll be much better off without me." "Oh, no, Megan," I cried, but all I could do was watch her go with the Browders and send a prayer after her. I had no way of knowing what spells of evil or good might be waiting for Megan.